Until we meet again. Bye, Yatin.
Chapter 2. Unpacking Broken Dreams. The first thing I notice is the quiet. Not the kind of quiet I knew in the city, broken by car horns, muffled arguments through thin apartment walls, and the endless buzz of notifications on my phone. This is different. It feels alive. Birdsong drifts through the open window, mingling with the faint rustle of pine needles outside. Somewhere in the distance, a rooster calls out, its voice echoing over the hills. I pull the quilt closer, inhaling the soft scent of lavender on the pillowcase. For a moment, I almost forget where I am. Then it comes back. The bus ride, the misty homestay, Vihan's steady gaze as he handed me the room key. I roll onto my back, staring at the wooden beams of the ceiling. My phone lies on the bedside table, screen dark. No calls, no messages. A small part of me still expects one. Rohan used to call every morning, sometimes to say he missed me, sometimes just to argue over my overthinking. I squeeze my eyes shut. I'm not going to let my thoughts spiral today. Not here. Not on my first morning of freedom. Pushing the quilt aside, I swing my legs over the edge of the bed. The wooden floor is cool beneath my bare feet. I walk to the window and push it open. The view makes my breath catch. Rows of pine trees stretch into the mist, their tips kissed by golden sunlight. A narrow dirt road snakes down to a tiny cluster of rooftops far below. The air smells faintly of rain and wildflowers, and for the first time in weeks, I feel my chest loosen. I rest my elbows on the windowsill and whisper, "Good morning, new life." But even as the words leave my lips, a quiet doubt stirs in my heart. Can I really leave my old life behind? Or is it waiting like a shadow to pull me back? There's a strange heaviness that comes with standing on the edge of change. It doesn't matter whether it's leaving behind a life that no longer feels like yours or daring to chase a dream you have hidden away for years. The doubt always finds you. It slips in like a quiet whisper asking the same relentless questions. What if I'm making a mistake? What if I fail? What if I was never enough to begin with? And yet, maybe doubt isn't the enemy we think it is. Maybe it's simply a sign that we are stepping into unfamiliar territory, stretching beyond the walls we built around ourselves. Perhaps doubt only exists when we care deeply about what's at stake. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment of absolute certainty. There will only ever be this one fragile, trembling step forward and then another. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving anyway, even with your heart pounding and your hands shaking. And somewhere along the way, you may discover that you were always enough. You just needed to believe it. I drag my fingers through my tangled hair, twist it into a loose knot, and slip into my sandals. The floorboards creak softly as I step out into the hallway, clutching my journal like a fragile lifeline. The air smells faintly of brewing coffee and warm bread. My stomach rolls embarrassingly loud. It's been almost a day since I last ate properly, but I'm too proud, or maybe too unsure, to admit hunger aloud. The staircase groans as I descend, careful not to make a sound. And then I see him. Vihan is behind the counter in the little cafe adjoining the reception. The soft yellow lights overhead catch in his hair, still damp from a shower, and his sleeves are rolled to the elbows as he pours steaming coffee into a ceramic mug. He doesn't notice me at first, or maybe he does and chooses not to. A part of me feels relieved. Another part, one I don't fully understand, almost wishes he would look up. I take a quiet seat by the window, tucking myself into the corner like an uninvited guest. My journal lies open, but the words refuses to come. Instead, I find my gaze drifting to the way his fingers cradle the cup, to the calm efficiency of his movements, to the soft hum he makes under his breath as he wipes the counter. There's nothing extraordinary about him, and yet, something about his silence feels heavier than words. He finally glances my way, his eyes briefly catching mine before flicking away. Not cold, not warm, just quiet. I quickly drop my gaze and scribble into my journal. I don't know why, but the quiet here doesn't scare me. It feels almost safe. The cafe smells like roasted beans and cinnamon. I don't remember the last time I noticed the smell of anything. My fingers trace the rim of my journal as I sit tucked into the corner, trying to blend into the wooden walls. The morning light streaming through the window dapples across the pages, but I still haven't written a word. Coffee? His voice startles me. I glance up to see him standing a few feet away, a steaming mug in hand. His expression is unreadable. Not quite a smile, but not indifferent either. Oh, yes, thank you. My voice comes out softer than I intend. He places the mug on the table with a small nod and retreats behind the counter without another word. I wrap my hands around the mug, letting the warmth seep into my chilled fingers. The first sip is almost enough to undo me. Strong, slightly bitter, but comforting in a way that feels undeserved. Good? I blink. He's looking at me now, leaning lightly against the counter. Yes, perfect actually. Glad to hear it. He glances out the window as if the mist rolling over the hills holds more interest than I do. The silence stretches, but it isn't heavy. Not like the silences I used to know. The one that came after arguments, thick with unspoken resentment. This one feels gentle. Do you run this place alone? I ask, surprising even myself. He nods. Mostly. You must like the quiet then. He gives the faintest shrug. Some days yes, some days no. I let out a soft laugh. I know the feeling. For a brief moment, his eyes meet mine, steady, unhurried, and in that tiny exchange, I feel something shift. Not earth shattering, just a little less alone. I open my journal and write. Why does this quiet feel so loud? Back in my room, I sit cross legged on the bed, my journal open on my lap. The soft hum of rain against the window fills the silence as my pen hovers over the page. I don't know where to start. For years, I avoided my younger self, her dreams, her innocence, her stubborn belief that life would be beautiful. But tonight, under this quilt, in a stranger's home, I feel an ache to reach out to her. I begin slowly, the words spilling like a confession. Dear 18-year-old me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let you settle for less than you deserved. I'm sorry I stayed when you screamed to leave. I wish I had protected your dreams better. I wish I had protected you better. The ink blurs as tears dip onto the page. I quickly swipe them away, but the ache doesn't stop. There's a soft knock on the door. I freeze. Lights are out downstairs. A voice calls gently. Bihan, you might want to grab a candle if you need one. Thank you, I manage, my voice cracking slightly. A few minutes later, I find myself wandering to the porch with the candle in hand. The rain has stopped, leaving behind a damp breeze. The stars are peeking out, tentative and faint. Vihan is there too, leaning against the wooden railing with a cup of tea. He doesn't look surprised to see me. You couldn't sleep either? He asks softly. I shake my head. Too many thoughts. He nods as if he understands. We stand there in silence for a while, watching the stars blink to life one by one. Finally, he murmurs. It gets easier. The thoughts? I turn to him surprised. There is no pity in his eyes, only quiet assurance. I hope so, I whisper. He gives a small, almost imperceptible smile. Good night. Good night. As he walks back inside, I sit on the porch a little longer, cradling my journal. Maybe healing isn't loud or sudden, I write. Maybe it's as quiet as starlight on a rainy night. And maybe that's it.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel.